And we're
And we're
live.
live.
Nice. Welcome, everyone. Well, this is the last session of the year, and we're super excited because we saved this one for the end, and it's going to be, we want to end the year with a bang. So I'll introduce you to our guest in just 1 minute. But first, I want to give some time for people to join. If this is the first time that you're joining us, well, the format is it's not a typical webinar, I would say. We are going to have a live Q&A session. So basically what we encourage you to do is if you see there's a chat. So please put your questions for the guests in the chat and we'll make sure that we get those answers, not at the end, but during the session, okay? It's gonna be a live conversation. And yeah, my name is Ignacio. I'll be your host. I'm part of the Keyflow team, and I have my colleague Tom. He'll be moderating today the questions. So Tom will be make sure that everything gets answered today. So while we wait, because we already have like 20 people live, which is impressive, we will give maybe 1 more minute, and then I'll introduce the topic and our lovely guest today. But just put in the chat so that we get things going. What's your current role? What's your current position? Where are you kind of like joining from today? So we'll kind of like get this started. So please put there in the chat what's your current role, what's your position, and let us know who you are and where. We already have more than 20 people live, which is great. Come on, don't be
Don't be
shy.
shy. We want to know who you are and your position.
Just click their chat and put us there in the comment. What's your role? What's your position? And then we'll get this started in a few minutes. Okay, we already have
Eric, Chief of
Eric,
Staff,
Chief of
Link
Staff.
Code,
Welcome, Eric. Tony, Sales
Sales
Director.
Director,
Welcome, Tony. It's a pleasure to meet you. Chris, I'm Chris, Head of Partnerships at Roots. Hi, Chris. Lucas, Partnership
Lucas,
Manager at
Manager.
Bidis. Antoine, hello, Antoine. Global Partner Manager at Loyally. Wow.
Wow.
Oh, Maria, BizDev,
Business Dev.
Celian, that's Partnership Manager. Aubrey, Channel Manager. Well, we have a lot of people today. Benoit,
Benoit, Head of B2B Sales.
Strategy. Nilgun, did I pronounce that right? Sorry. Head of
Probably.
Partnerships. Thibaut, Agency Partnership Manager at Wiglot. Wow, that's impressive.
Wow.
Welcome,
Very
everyone. If
diverse
you're
group.
joining just now, please, we will have a session where we have a guest that will answer your questions live. Okay, so it's a live Q&A. So please put in the chat what's your position, what's your current role, and we will actually get things started in 1 minute. So Bianca, customer relationships manager. Ryan, director of partnerships. Michael, growth marketing manager. That's impressive. Okay, I think that we can kick things off, and I really want to introduce you to today's guest. So today's guest is Lilibeth Acuña. She's the former partnership lead at lemlist, and it's impressive what she achieved. So she went from first being the first hire of partnerships to generating 4.5 million in ARR with lemlist partnership program. So Lilibeth, it's a pleasure to have you, and we are super excited for having you and hearing your story today.
Thank you very much, Ignacio. It's also a pleasure for me to be here. It's a good moment as well because I'm kind of looking back on my experience to lemlist, and it's a great moment to get all the questions that other people have. I think it's a great space that you've got here. So yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure, and we are super
We
excited.
love to
Our
have you.
audience is super excited today. And I think that, well, thanks again for everyone that's joining live. You'll get the chance to actually ask your questions. So please put them in the chat while we are progressing. Please put the questions that you'll have for Lilibeth, and she will get those answers during the session. And I think that we can kick things off. I wanted to start maybe before jumping to the first subtopic, Lily, with maybe your how did you get to that role? What's kind of like? Can you give us kind of like a preview of that?
For
Like a
sure. I
background
think it's
story.
kind of like the story of most, well, perhaps not of most partnership managers, but what usually happens is that nobody studies for being a partnership manager, right? It's essentially a lever that we learn on the role, and it's definitely something that we become, and not that we are just in natively, right? So my path has gone through several different areas. I was first into video production, which is so far away from what I'm doing now, and then I moved over to work in a marketing agency, and I got to see essentially the agency side of things, right? And then eventually moved to the tech space in Paris. I got imported to Paris, and then I got landed a job in tech. And then I moved into lemlist, where I started my first partnerships role, which was an insanely challenging task, because of course, when you do not know anything about it, it can be quite intimidating. But I think at the same time, it provided me with a small leverage, which was the fact that I was curious to learn about everything. So I because I didn't know anything about it, I needed to absolutely absorb all the knowledge I could about the customer, about the potential partners that we had out there, the people that were acting as partners without being partners, official partners. So I got into really research mode, and got into a mindset of really understanding each position from each person, meaning customer side, partner side, and so on. So not having a background on partnerships ended up being yeah, a leverage for me there. And yeah, I got to have a great experience at lemlist.
I love that. I love the fact that you went
Amazing.
like with nothing and just like learn everything as you go. And I think that that was also your leverage probably, because in a way you were kind of like with that learner's mindset, you learn as kind of like, as you said, like with new approach. And I think that that's impressive. So maybe we can kick off things with the first subtopic, which was kind of like, how did you prove the concept, right? Because you said like you were assessing, but then you were actually proving the concept as you go. So I don't know if Lilibeth is there, or she was having some issues
Yes.
with the.
Y-
Oh, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. Can you see me all right?
Nope, we can't see you.
No, but we can hear you.
That's weird. Let's see if it comes back. But while that comes back, I can start telling you about the proof of concept.
Yes,
Can
go
you hear
ahead.
me?
Let's just start with that, and then we can go ahead. Just start with the proving of
Great.
concept.
Perfect. So in the proof of concept, I think the very first thing is to get, of course, in this mindset of research mode, into specifically first a customer, because when you start to create a partnership program of whatever kind, you need to first understand what are the gaps existing within your customers. What are you not satisfying within your customer profile that your partnerships could leverage? So it's the first thing that you need to ask yourself. The first questions that you should be asking is, what are the clients missing that we're not providing, that would in the end bring more revenue, because customers would be happier. So yeah, that's the first research kind of that you need to go for. At lemlist, I think I did not necessarily go for this first. If I would do it all over again, I would first go to research on the customer side. There's plenty of ways that you can do it. You can directly, for instance, go into your intercom or whatever software you have for customer support, and you can research what are the frequent questions, research what are the knowledge gaps within the customer, and then understand what are those. You can hop directly on calls with customers. I think that's the best way. Historical customers are always super willing to go and give you everything, really every type of feedback, the good and the bad, and the really bad. So yeah, that's definitely a way. And then the second thing where you can uh, continue to first build a concept to then prove it is to talk with the people who are acting as partners without being official partners. There's typically, if you've already found market fit, there's already people that have found um, business models, that have found ways essentially of using your product to satisfy a specific customer, a specific market. So you need to talk to those first, because those will definitely be helpful to build the basis of your program. So what I did first at lemlist was actually list out 30 potential partners that were already kind of like starting to do offerings, including lemlist, so selling lemlist in some way or including lemlist into their offer. And with those, I selected like 6 questions that I wanted to run. And it was such a good basis. I think until like 2 months ago that I was on lemlist, I essentially kept going back to this research that I did back then, because it had so much information about what the specific needs and the specific wants of these people were, and what were essentially the non-negotiables for them to work with us at lemlist. Because they know specific, like they will tell you exactly what they need to have from you in order to be in a successful partnership with them. So yeah, that was the first step of kind of like researching what needed to be done.
Mhm.
And then the second portion of it in proving concept, and sorry, I'm going overhead with it. It's the fact that you need to align expectations with leadership. That's the very first thing that needs to be done. Usually when you're hired for partnerships, if you are the first hire, there's not necessarily a comprehension of what partnerships is, what can be expected, will it become the company, what resources will be needed for partnerships to be successful. So I think during the, even if you're entering into a first partnership role, the questions that you should be, the interview or the selection process that you're having with that company should almost be an interview of you to the company, because you need to understand what are the expectations from them regarding the growth that you can potentially have on the partnership side. Um, so yeah, those are the first, let's say, 2 stepping stones in your way to proving a concept and partnerships.
That's great. And Lilibeth, because you mentioned something at the beginning that, I mean, you were proving something that was different. Like in this case, Lemlist wasn't kind of like seeing these partners as potential partners, right? They were just like maybe agencies that were seen as customers, but not as potential partners. How did you convince the leadership to change that?
So at the very first, it was difficult because I got hired by Simon Brossard, who was at the moment, he was chief of business operations, I believe. And he had a vision for what partnerships could be, because he saw all the inbound that we were getting from agencies specifically to work with lemlist. However, there was like at C level, there was a misconception of perhaps partners will still work with us because the product is good, so we don't really need to invest in it, because if the product is good enough, then people will work with us, which is true up to one extent, because people who are or businesses that are in the position to refer other softwares um, have so many offers out there, right, in the market. They can be offering software A, software B, software C. And a good portion of it is the quality of your product. But then there's also a good portion that is the type of relationship that you have with them, the revenue that they can get out of referring, and especially how comfortable they feel with the team. I feel that that's how comfortable they feel with your team and how close a relationship is possibly the factor that is least taken in account, but it's actually the one that will decide at the end of the year what software they will be using next year. So yeah, there's a bunch of things that you need to invest on aside from just product. So the first thing that we need to convince leadership is that we needed to invest in the relationship part and not only on the product. So that was definitely the first sheep of mindset that we had to do. And the second was that at Lemlist, we had a moment where we were switching personas from essentially SMBs and actually mostly founders, companies led by a person, like a founder-led company, to a different persona, which was SMBs, but much bigger. So we're talking about 50 to 500 people in the company. So it's a different persona, right? And we were targeting sales people within this new persona. So within the switch, there was also the realization across the company, which was very positive, that we needed to focus. we couldn't keep on targeting so many personas and everybody that came to the product, but we needed to really go deep for one persona. So obviously I was entering at the same time, and partnerships seemed to be a distraction to the persona that we wanted to target. It seemed to be something that we might lose focus with while we were aiming to go for a specific sales persona. So the switch of mind that we needed to do in that point in the C-level side is that we needed to present partnerships not as a customer. It's not a customer type. We're not aiming for agencies. We're not aiming for this persona. We're aiming for having a new channel, a new revenue channel, essentially. So partnerships is not a customer, it's a new revenue channel, it's a new revenue source. So when we clicked on that, it was okay, let's get the money in and let's go for it. Let's put in the money, let's put in the time, and let's go for it.
That's impressive, and that shift is it's actually something that you mentioned also, and I wanted to ask you about this because when we were discussing this initially, you mentioned that sales was also an ally for you, right? Like that played a critical role in making that switch, right?
Sorry, it was definitely an ally. The sales team at Lemlist was being built at the same time as the partnerships team, which is a rare thing because usually a sales team is already very much structured before partnerships come in. Depends on the company you're in. But in my case, we were building both at the same time. So it was positive in the way that while sales were also figuring out all the stepping stones for them to build a proper sales team, we were doing the same thing at the same time. And all the processes that you would usually need to teach a 50-person sales team, we were teaching it to a 2, 3, 5-person team, and they were teaching it to the new sales that were coming in. So I think it was a great thing for us to just grow at the same time, right? So yeah, it was a great ally that we had in the sales side. The way that we work is essentially that will have sales will have a bunch of leads coming in that could be potential, and they will mark them as potential partners. And then on the other side, we always tried to have a sales involved in the relationship with any partner, so that in the future the partner will have one contact person within the sales team, and deals can come back and forth easily, essentially.
That's super smart. That's super smart. And Lilibet, so let's make a parenthesis here. If you just join us, please make sure that you click there in the chat and ask the questions to Lilibet because she has a lot of experience to share with you, and also she'll share more related to the playbook. But please put there in the chat if you have any questions for her. Just put them there, and she'll get those answers right away. So, Lilibet, I think that you were also mentioning that the sales was super important, critical, but also changing that mindset was like, what do you do after you do that? Like you achieve kind of like the first step, like the foundation, but how do you actually progress that into action? How do you put that into action?
For sure. I think usually when we're building in a partner program, an expert program, whatever we want to call it, usually we think about the little table with the commission, with all the different benefits, and we'll usually build a structure that we haven't yet tested. So I think the very first thing is to build a system that is as simple as possible. So the first question that you need to pose yourself is, what's the number one benefit that our partners can have from us that will allow them to generate revenue? So it's not about 10 different benefits, it's about one single thing that will be your value proposition for your partners, and then you can craft things around it, right? So for instance, when I was interviewing our first partners, we realized that all of the different benefits that we could have, the support, the relationship, everything was additional to the ability of them to the ability that we could have of sending them more clients. So we built our entire program around the fact that we wanted to be able to send them leads and send them opportunities, and just get them as much of as exposure as we could. So all of the different benefits that we started to craft around our partnership program were thought out in a way that those were benefits that could allow them to generate more revenue. If it could not generate more revenue for them in any way, then it was not necessarily something that was adding value to our partnership. So if you can craft in the building the foundations a very, 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 and I stretch the very simple partnership program that you can test with 30 partners maximum, that's what's gonna prove the concept. That's gonna allow you to go to zero and be like, hey, I need to invest in 2 hires to manage another 30 partnerships each. Because with this first 30, we've proved it's generating X revenue, it's attained X results. So yeah, that first partnership that it should be as simple as possible is the first step towards building the whole program or ecosystem even.
Okay, Lilibet,
Sorry,
I think
Lilibet.
that
Yeah.
you were cut the last part, so maybe what we can do is go. We do have a question, right, Tom? So before,
Yes.
yeah,
Exactly. We have a question from the audience from Maxime. Lilibeth, I hope you can hear us well because we cannot see you. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear perfectly and I can see you all perfectly. It's such a shame.
don't worry about it.
No,
We can
it's
hear you,
okay. It
so
happens.
that's fine.
Yeah. So the question from Maxime is, how would you handle training your partners to lemlist in terms of getting them to be knowledgeable enough to handle customer success support for the clients they would sell lemlist to?
That's a great question. It's something that we did in the last year. Essentially, partners, of course, need to be the people that know the product better than your salespeople. They need to know the product as good as any of your customer support. But it's difficult to get them to that level, especially if they haven't used the tool for such a long time. So communication with our partners happened through Slack. So we had like one channel with each of our partners. And within that Slack, we habilitated a bot that is trained with all of our internal documentation. So I'm talking about our Notion, I'm talking about our intercom chats, about all of our Slack historical data as well, because sometimes the product will evolve at a speed that the documentation that it can be found online or in Notion is not up to date, but the chats exist in Slack. So we fed all of this information into a bot that it's powered with Dust. That we'll talk about it in a little bit, I think. So essentially, Dust is a tool that allows you to generate agents, AI agents. So we fed all of this information to our bot. It's called Buddy, and partners can tag this bot inside the Slack. So it can be, add Buddy, do you know why this doesn't happen this way? Add Buddy, how can we solve this specific thing? How we can do the X or Y? The moment that we habilitated this within the partners, we saw an increase in just domain of the product that was unbelievable. The other added benefit that it has is that usually within your partnership team, you can have 1, 2, 3 languages top, but a bot can have all of them. So we soon started seeing partners that were in Italy, or that were even, we had a couple of partners in Asia as well that were asking the questions in their own languages. So the way that they were learning Lemlist was much more direct. So yeah, that was before and after in terms of partner education.
That's super smart.
Amazing. Yeah, it's a great idea. Very out of the box. And we actually have another question for you. It's from Ryan. I think I'm pronouncing the name right. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. So the question is, when launching a new partnership where the lead volume and revenue potential are still unknown, how do you handle sales territory or lead assignment fairly so it doesn't negatively impact sales equity? Additionally, who typically owns the long-term nurturing of the relationship, the partnership manager or the sales rep who owns the relationship?
Okay, this is a long question.
Two questions in one,
Yeah,
right? Let's go for the
yeah,
first
two
part, right?
questions in one. So yeah, When launching a new partnership where the lead volume and revenue potential are still unknown, how do you handle sales territory or lead assignment fairly so it doesn't negatively impact sales equity?
Mm.
I
Let's
see.
try
It's
with.
always there's always a question as to it's difficult to set the territory between sales and partnerships. I do believe that whenever the question is being asked about what's partnerships and what's sales, the question asked is not the correct one. It should be about how can sales generate more opportunities for partners and how partners can generate more opportunities for sales. So not how can we avoid stealing from each other, but how can we nurture each other deals essentially. When you're launching a new partnership, I'd say the best way that you can do it is first creating partnership-led deals. So you should not be relying on your own, or I believe you should not be relying on your own sales to feed these partners at the very first. There needs to be proof that these partners can generate deals and revenue from their end before you start redistributing how your inbound and how your sales opportunities are distributed to your partners. I don't know if that makes sense, but I would definitely suggest first putting all your effort into creating partnerships that will bring revenue from their end before getting into the how do we send deals from sales to partners.
Yeah, I think it was clear the last part for sure. And then Tom, the second part of the question, right?
Yeah, so the second part is additionally, who typically owns the long term nurturing of the relationship? The partnership manager or the sales rep who owns the relationship?
I'd say the partnership manager should own the relationship. There will be necessarily, or it depends on how you're structuring. In my case, we always had salespeople involved because we want partners to have the reflex of, oh, I have this deal that I need help with. Then I'll send it over to the sales that I know. So we wanted them to have that relationship in mind. But who owns the long term relationship is a partnership manager, and they should be the ones kind of orchestrating the relationship and the direction that they want to set for this partnership in specific. And even when the sales rep also has a relationship with the partner, even if for instance the sales rep wants to do something out of the box, wants to create some other type of initiative with them, it should go through the partnership manager because they should be the ones that have the vision for how this specific partner plays out a role within your whole ecosystem, what's the direction that they should be going forward.
Makes sense.
Beautiful. We have two more questions just to prepare you.
Right.
Our
Go ahead.
audience is finally waking up, and that's beautiful. So, Maria wants to know what is some advice on how to evaluate potential partners? We sell large custom solutions, so each partner requires a large time investment.
That's a difficult one, and honestly, it's one that I've struggled with. Um, the first way it's to analyze historical past behavior is the best thing to determine future behavior. So you want to analyze if they have other partnerships with other tools, and how has that gone? What type of investment they required? I honestly, through a call, I could almost immediately know. With time, you always get good to distinguish fluff from the actual potential execution, I believe. But definitely, the potential, like high potential partners, will have really nice questions in the first interview. I mean, they will have their set of requirements to partner up with you very clear in mind. They have their numbers there in their mind. They know how much they should be getting back from the partnership, so it makes sense for them to start reselling your tool, for example, or to start incorporating your tool into their offering. So the first interview should feel like they are evaluating the business potential of your partnership, and it should never feel like you're trying to convince them to partner up with you. It's not the right approach. It's about really analyzing the metrics and seeing if it makes sense for the both of you. And of course, historical data with other partnerships, it does break. Let me know if you have more specific questions about it. Maria, it's a really great question.
It is. It is.
And we have one more from Benoit. Benoit wants to know, have you identified any type of partner activation that consistently creates a measurable spike in activity or revenue? Build and run.
Yeah, great. So I can talk about co-marketing here. We got really good at partner co-marketing at Lemlist. Usually, co-marketing is a thing that's difficult to scale and it's difficult to produce because it takes a lot of time, both from the partner and both from you. And the way that we did it is that we created four formats that were easy to replicate and that would get a lot of exposure to our partners. So to give you an example, one of them was expert cards. So our partners had the list of all of our published blogs out on the website. So they were live blogs already produced by our SEO team or our content team. And our partner could choose what blog they wanted to appear in. They sent us a quote regarding the topic that they would need to add on value about it. And we would include them with their quote, with their backlink, and it would be showcased immediately in the website. All of this can be automated. So they needed to fill out a form saying which blog they want to appear in, their quotes, and then magically it appears on the blog. So that's an easy content format that does not require time from you or your team. You just need to automate it once, and that partners love because they're getting showcased as experts within your website, talking about a specific topic. And we recreated multiple of these type of content formats. There was another one, the cold email templates hub. I saw there was Hey Reach around there. I'm pretty sure they must be thinking of the same thing. So it's essentially creating templates that where our partners could show their expertise, and they would be shown as authors. In that case, they would author the template. But you can really think of the easiest way for them to be included anywhere within your channels, your marketing channels, and automate it as much as you can, because it definitely makes core marketing not a weight but a boost every time that a partner feels like they're not being taken into account and enough, that they need a little boost in the partnership, that we need like something leverage for them to just go one step further in the relationship. Boom, we go with one content format and it works like a charm.
I love this. I mean, your Lilibet is throwing so much value bombs today. I think it's impressive. Thanks for sharing this.
Thanks.
I don't know, Tom, if we have more because I think that we need to move on to the next subtopic. This was kind of
Yeah,
like a preview of the next subtopic.
no more questions right now.
Okay, perfect. So, Lilibet, you define the proving the concept. That was kind of like the first thing to do. Then you define the foundations, how to actually set it up and have the minimum variables to be operational. Now you need to go and actually scale it, right? Like from one to two. How do you do that? How do you define what works and what actually didn't?
I think here it's we go to the good old test and trial. So we test what we don't know, and then we automate what we do know that works. So, for instance, at Lemlist, we tested out a bunch of things in co-marketing, like I just mentioned. We experimented with, for instance, as well in the lead sharing part, we experimented with forms in the app. So inside Lemlist, we were asking users if they needed help from experts, and with a simple form, essentially them giving us a brief of what their need was and sharing those with leads. It worked fairly enough. We kind of simplified the process at some point, but we definitely did test out this one and then polished it and automated in a different way. We also tested, for instance, sending suggestions to our partners of features that were not being used by certain of their clients. So, for instance, at Lemlist, we launched the in-app calling, so the ability to call from Lemlist, and we noticed that some of our partners' clients were not using the feature. So we identified which of those clients were not using, and which they could be a good fit for. You can also go to your growth ops or whoever person that handles that type of thing, and you can even scrape like who's using the alternatives to the solutions. So for us, it was Aircall, it was other tools. And we could do a very soft very soft message to our partners saying like, hey, you've got this client, they could benefit from this tool because they could X, Y, and Z. It should always come from the approach of how we can add value to your clients and not how we can upsell you, but it's essentially an aim to upsell their clients to more of our features. Other things that we've experimented, we of course we've tried sourcing partners from our competitors. I would say this should be taken with a pinch of salt. Usually a partner that has been working with one of your competitors, they have a strong relationship. It's always worth testing the waters, and partners are usually open to hearing proposals, but you do have to treat it with respect. What I would definitely advise to make it as automated as you can, as massively as you can, is sourcing from tools that are not direct competitors, but kind of complementary tools. So for Lemlist, well, now Lemlist has a recorder, but um, uh, a meeting recorder directed towards salespeople, that would be a tool that we could aim and see which partners they have and source partners from there. So kind of seeing alternative tools that are not direct competitors and who's partnering with them so that we can source those partners for us. That always works really great. We've also tested a bunch of just fun activities, such as we send them over yearly prizes. So with Legos this year, we send them over a prize that was really nice. It was crafted with like laser 3D cutting. It was a beautiful prize. Those are things that work and that we reproduce every year. Then I also mentioned the AI bot for partner training that we automated immediately because it was just so useful for our partners. We've automated as well all of the sourcing of partners. So, for instance, we've got a campaign that identifies users of the platform that have over 5K, for example, followers on LinkedIn. And we could even go one step further and see like what's their role, and kind of filtering out the people through enrichment. But we were trying to essentially identify partners within our own user base, and that's a campaign that's running continuously. So we tested it, it worked, and we automated it. Another thing could be well, the co-marketing kind of like massively. Other things that I would love to test and automate were triggers of co-sell. So essentially, you could do lookalike campaigns for your partner's clients, so you can get all their list of their clients and run lookalike campaigns. So you would identify profiles of companies and of people that look similar to their client profile, and doing kind of like a co-sell motion with certain high value client, high value partners. I mean, that's also a campaign that I love. So yeah, that's some of the initiatives that we tested. What I would advise is essentially to scale. You've already got the basis. Just keep all the acquisition going on continuously, and then have fun testing and automating everything that works.
Those are a lot, and thanks for sharing those. I think that
That's
people are getting a
a
lot
lot.
of but I wanted to ask you something that it's kind of like related to this, and because everyone says that, of course, to see results in partnerships, it takes time. Like, how much time did it took until you started seeing like real traction, and what would you do differently if you had to do it again?
For sure, I think it depends a lot on the sales cycle of each tool. In my case, Lemlist did not have a sales cycle that was too long, so that was really great for me because I could start seeing results soon-ish enough. I'd say we started seeing results 1 year in. Yeah, 1 year in, we started to see around 6 to 9% of revenue overall the tool driven by partners. And that's really the moment when C levels turned around and they were like, okay, maybe there's something here. And yeah, and we could dedicate more time and effort into it. Your second question was?
What would you do differently from what you've done in order to get to that kind of like results or those results?
That's really great, and I'm really happy because I will get to do it again soon, building a partnerships ecosystem from scratch. Um, First, I think at Lemons I did not pay as much attention in the very first to the client, to the gaps in the client offering. So what I was talking back at the start of the webinar, so focusing on what the clients are not perceiving in value from your company that partners could fill in. So that's something I would definitely go for at the very start, understanding what could partners how can partners add on the tool in a way that clients get more value. And then there's, I think at Lambdas at first, because it was also my first role, I was not always sure on partner communications up to what extent being transparent. And I think the transparency policy with partners is the best thing that you can have, like to really be as transparent as possible, meaning with the product backlog, so that partners understand what's being built, it will be delivered when realistically, what's the direction of the product overall. When partners feel that they understand what's in the head of the founder even, and what's the direction that the company is really going in within 5 years, they can add on the dream of the company. If they do not understand it, if they do not know it, and they feel that the company is a black box that they are just kind of depending on, then the relationship does not exist. So I think that's another thing that I would do from the very start. And the second thing is that at Lemless, I had the fortune to have a lot of inbound when I entered the company. So a lot of agencies wanted to work with us. Something that I would do differently is dividing my time so that I focus a part of time on those inbound leads, but a lot of time on outbound. So targeting partners that I really want to partner with, even if they're not coming forward, because it will allow you to build the partnerships that you dream of, and not only what comes to the table and just eating whatever comes to you. So that's another thing that I would definitely focus or do differently.
That's amazing. That's amazing, Lilibet, and thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing everything, because I think that you're again super transparent, and I think that that's appreciated. One last thing, because I think that we are almost on time, right, Tom?
Yeah,
But
3 more
yeah,
minutes.
I wanted to ask you what's next for you. I mean, because you mentioned that you're going into a new role. What's coming for you, and where people can find you?
Yeah, I'm super excited about the opportunity coming forward. You're all seeing me right now between two roles. I just left Lemlist a couple of weeks ago, and I'll be joining very soon Dust, which is a company that actually powers the AI bot that I mentioned before.
Nice.
So go try it out. And
Amazing.
so they also have they have a really nice product to build agents, and it's an amazing product for partnerships, specifically because there's so many new even careers and professions being built around AI. So on the partnership side, I think we'll have just a universe to tackle within their offering. So yeah, very excited about taking this opportunity as sales ops at Dust very soon in a couple of months. And
Nice.
I'll keep you posted. I'm learning as everybody here is. So it's again, I want to thank you all at Kiflo for creating this type of spaces. Partnerships is a job that nobody knows what they're doing. So the more we talk, the more we learn, and the more we know what we're doing. So yeah, thank you very much for it.
Our pleasure,
For
Lilibet, and
sure.
thanks. You define it perfectly why we do this, and that's exactly why we do it. So thanks again for taking the time and for sharing this. And again, everyone that joined today live, and everyone that has been part of the sessions during the year, thank you, because again, this would not be possible if you didn't show up and join us. So thanks.
Exactly.
And yeah, let's just, well, of course, we are wrapping up the year today. So again, thanks, Lilibeth. We are really looking forward to listening about like everything that you will do in Dust. I think that you will crush it. So really looking forward to that. And for the rest of us, thanks. If you want to listen to the previous sessions, if you can actually go to our website and have a look at those. You'll get the recording of this, so definitely you,
Yeah.
if you want to watch the recordings, you'll get this. And keep an eye on the next session next year, because we're having a lot of content. Probably related to stories like Lilibeth. So we want to make sure that we share the really successful stories with you, and especially during putting a lot of emphasis in the people, right? So that's what we want. So thanks again from on behalf of all the Keyflow team. Have an amazing 2026, and please join us
And
in
see you in
the
2026 with some
yes,
new
and join us
sessions,
in
new insights, and great guests. Absolutely. Love
and
to have you.
Lilibeth, thank you
Thank you,
for
Lilibeth.
joining us today.
Just
Thank you
gracias.
both. Have a good one.
Ciao ciao.
Thanks. Ciao.